Alright, hey guys, so in the last video when I went over my tier list, I realized that I was making a lot of references to balance changes for the old civs that you guys might not be familiar with, or there's no real clear list of changes out there, so I thought it would be a good idea to make a video where I go over the changes for all of the old civs, or the general changes for the game itself, and just go into that so you guys know what's going on with all of those new civs on any map type in any situation, and of course I'll give whatever little analysis I can on what effects those changes will have for the game. So let's jump into DE. Alright guys, so we are here in DE, in the tech tree. So I would of course love to have recorded gameplay with the new stuff or use the scenario editor to show you guys some specific changes, but I wasn't cool enough to get the press release version of the game, so you're gonna have to suffer with just the tech tree because that's all I got's time for. So without further ado, here we go, all the changes. So we're gonna start with some general changes. So this is gonna be affecting every single civilization, new ones included, old ones included, all that stuff. So first, we're going to have the Elite Skirmisher upgrade, have its cost bumped up just a little bit. I guess it would be shown here. Yeah, Elite Skirmisher, 230 wood, 130 gold. This is up from 200 wood and 100 gold in the current patch of the game. It's still a little bit cheaper than it was in Age of Conquerors. I believe then it was 260 wood, 160 gold. So we're kind of splitting the difference between what we have now and what we had then. And I think this is a good change. It's going to make the early Castle Age timing of Elite Skirmishers killing a ton of Feudal Age archers, or even some crossbowmen, it's going to make it a little bit trickier. It's a very skirm-dominated meta these days on Arabia 1v1, and this sort of change just makes going for those sorts of, early Castle Age Elite Skirmisher stuff a little bit more taxing on the economy. Okay, so next we have a little bit of a change to Age of Gates right here. The Palisade Gate, we see its wood cost is now increased to 30. On top of this, when you are building the Palisade Gate, it now has 0/0 armor, as opposed to right now, which I believe is like 1 melee armor and a few pierce armor. So in the current version, there is some building armor when you're building a Palisade Gate, making it really difficult to destroy, but when you have 0/0 armor, I mean, that means everything's doing full damage. It's like an outpost, which is pretty much one of the only other things in the game that have no armor whatsoever. And it's going to be making those, epic walling people in with gates and they have no counterplay whatsoever. It's going to make that a little bit more expensive and a little bit easier to break out of if you have the units to bust down the gate. Another big one is that watchtowers now only have 700 HP. Can't move my cursor to it, but you guys can see a little heart thing, 700 HP. And yeah, that is a huge change. It's a big nerf to tower rushes. Is it going to be enough to remove tower rushes from the game completely? No, people still go for tower rushes all the time. It is still a viable strategy, but it is weaker. And yeah, 700 HP is around a 300 HP decrease from the current version. And just across the board, it makes villagers knocking down the building a lot easier. Just any unit in general. And so if you're in a situation where the tower is not walled, then your units are going to be able to take them down really quickly. It's very much a change that you can feel the difference. I mean, it's around a 30% decrease in HP. So yeah, that's going to be huge for tower rushing, and will be interesting to see how exactly it plays out. But I think we'll be seeing less tower rushing. Not no tower rushing, but a little bit less. One last thing to note is that, as far as I'm aware, the HP is restored up to normal levels upon reaching the Castle Age. So you don't even need to research Guard Tower. As soon as you hit Castle Age, I think that Watchtower HP jumps back up to its default 1020. So that is that's a little change I like. Another change we have for you pachyderm lovers out there, the Elite Battle Elephant has been nerfed a little bit in its attack. I talked about this when I was talking about qamar in the tier list, but you can see up there, they now only have a base attack of 14 as opposed to 16 in the current patch balance thing of the game, and that is definitely a pretty sizable nerf. Now, Battle Elephants are no longer stronger than Paladins. You can see both have 14 base attack. It's just the Battle Elephant has 1 less melee armor, and is a lot slower and has like almost double the HP as a base HP. So I mean, elephants are still going to be good. Don't get me wrong. If you have a good elephant civ like Khmer or Burmese, you're going to be totally fine going with battle elephants. It just makes them a little bit less oppressive in the late game. Elephants are weird, right? They are either too expensive to really ever see competitive play, like the Persian war elephant, or you have like the pre-patch Malay battle elephants that did full splash damage. Yeah, those guys are really OP. So it's just a little bit weaker now. I still think elephants are going to be just fine. It's just they're not going to be able to tear through absolutely everything. Maybe something that could be considered for the future is tusk swords, the Khmer unique tech. I just happened to be on Khmer to show the elephants. Maybe that could give like +5 attack to get you the old elephant attack just for Khmer. That might be something to consider in the future, but that's not a case. That's not the case now. That's just Ornlu's wishful thinking. Of course, another big change is we have the new supplies tech. So this tech is replacing the tracking tech at the barracks. It is available to all civilizations. So I guess first I should explain that tracking, despite no longer existing in the game as a tech, its effect still exists in the game. You just get it for free. So essentially, with any civilization, upon reaching the feudal age, you'll get tracking for free. All your infantry units for the rest of the game will have +2 line of sight. So really, it's not like the tech is gone. It's just everybody gets it for free. So now we'll have supplies instead, which is a lot more of an impactful technology. You can see the militia line costs -15 food. It makes certain civilizations like Bulgarians with their free men-at-arm upgrades, or Slobs with their faster farming. You can make a lot of infantry in the feudal age. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting tech. I think maybe certain other infantry civs like Japanese Celts or Malians who have decent longswordsmen in the Castle Age, or strong longswordsmen in the Castle Age. Maybe we can see that worked in a little bit more. I mean, especially against Eagle Warriors. Maybe some other timings or something like that. I think it's a tech that has way more interesting applications than does tracking. Kind of like Arson, where Arson is, it definitely changes the game in some way where it just makes infantry wreck buildings. But yeah, supplies, it's available to every civilization except Goths. Goths do not have supplies because they already have a huge infantry discount, and yeah, -15 more food would be kind of bonkers. So our last general change is, I guess kind of like the elephant one. It's technically a general change, even though only 2 civilizations have these units. We have the steppe lancers, which are available exclusively to the Tartars and the Cumans. And we can see that this unit is a brand spanking new unit. It's not a unique unit, but, it's 2 civilizations have it. It's like the Eagle Warrior back in Age of Conquerors, where it was just Aztecs and Mayans. So this is essentially analogous to a light cavalry type unit. You can see that the Castle Age Steppe Lancer has base 60 HP, same as a light cav. However, the light cavalry has 1 more pierce armor and 3 less attack. So Steppe Lancers actually have the same base attack as knights. And of course, the big sort of defining aspect of this unit is that it has 1 range like a Mameluke. So you're able to poke away at units over, the shoulders, I guess, of the other Steppe Lancers. You can potentially poke away at villagers who are repairing. And yeah, this unit, it's available in the Castle Age. It's a pretty strong one that moves really fast. It does cost gold, so it's not like a light cab where it's a trash unit. You can see that it costs 70 food, 30 gold. But with the Cuman's bonus, where they move 10% faster on top of it, like, yeah, I think Steppe Lancers are going to be a really, really powerful option for them in particular. But not entirely sure how this is going to play out just yet. Oh yeah, I should show the Elite Steppe Lancer. 80 HP compared to the Hussar 75, so you're at a little bit of an advantage there. Still only the 1 base pierce armor, which is really low for, I mean, think of like a champion or something. You're going to get shredded by arbs, just as much as that. But you have 12 base attack. Again, it is analogous to a Cavalier, so that is a high base attack for a very low gold cost. But yeah, this is going to be a really good unit for raiding and potentially chasing down enemy units. Like, if you have a bunch of enemy archers that are all, like, clumped up in a corner, like, those really annoying situations where your opponent has, like, 20 archers, but they get them into, like, this little nook in a tree line, and then you're like, my melee units can't do anything. Well, the Steppe Lancer is here to say, yeah, they're going to poke away at all of them and kill them nice and quick. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, a really strong unit. Interesting to see how this will play out for the 2 civilizations that have access to it. So now we're going to jump into the civilization-specific changes. These ones are... I'm only going to talk about the old civilizations here. I'm not going to talk about any of the new civilizations. I was going to make a video on the each of the new civilizations, and then I saw that there was apparently some people who got a version of the game where they could have access to like the scenario editor and stuff like that, and yeah, there are already way better videos on the new civs out there than I could ever hope to do. So instead, we're just going to be talking about how the changes to the old civs are going to be affecting the game going forward. So Britons, one little bit of a minor change for them. Scrolling over to the castle, we have the warwolf technology is now more expensive. I mentioned this a little bit in the tier list video. It is now 800 wood, 400 gold, going up from 500 wood and 250 gold, so that's plus 300 wood, plus 150 gold. And that is pretty pricey for a tech now. It was a very strong tech. I wouldn't say it was really ever game-breaking, but, I mean, warwolf definitely... it doesn't even say it here. I think it should say that it gives the trebuchets perfect accuracy. It seems like that is almost more important than the blast damage, although the blast damage can be really nice, especially in, like, Britain mirrors when you're just nuking enemy archers and skirmishers, but... yeah, the 100% accuracy, you win every treb war. It's insane. So, cost hike, it's not something I'm going to complain about too much. So Franks are only getting a little bit of a nerf. They are no longer having their HP bonus affect their cavalry in the Dark Age. Well, you can see that right here. Cavalry plus 20% hit points starting in Feudal Age. That is the change. You can't win scout wars against every other civ in the game. Eagle Scouts are not, just by being Franks. You do have to wait until the Feudal Age to get that HP boost. Also makes laming villagers or laming boars a little bit more tricky. A little bit of a nerf. Not anything that I think people who like playing Franks are going to be weeping bitter tears about. It's just Franks are a very strong civ, and I think they're perhaps a little too streamlined, I guess. Like, it's you can just go for the same thing over and over again as Franks without really putting much thought into it. So this at least makes their early game, you might have to be a little bit more tactical in your scout usage. Yeah, just to touch on this really briefly, Goths, no supplies. Feels bad, man. Only civ in the game who don't get it. Yeah, you still have a much larger infantry discount, but yeah, it's now less of an advantage than it used to be, which is rather unfortunate. So Incas, their slingers now have 1 less base attack. Used to be 5 base attack, now it's down to 4 base attack, which you can see right there. And yeah, that's definitely a nerf to the civ. Slingers used to be like an incredibly strong unit that you could just use as a replacement for crossbowmen in the mid-game. Like, in Castle Age, yeah, the slingers are a little bit more expensive, I guess, in terms of it costing food as opposed to wood, but the total resource count is the same, and they have 5 more HP, 40 HP compared to the 35 of the crossbowmen, and, then you have the added bonus of getting a ton of bonus damage versus infantry. Like, yeah, you have a minimum range, and you don't benefit from the extra attack speed from Thumb Ring, although you do get the 100% accuracy for the slinger. But yeah, slingers were a little bit too good against things that weren't infantry before, I would say, so I think this is a reasonable nerf. So moving on to the melee, you can see here it says advancing to the next age 66% faster. I'm not sure if this is like some sort of math wizardry that's like a correct representation of the current bonus, but from what people have told me, this bonus it's unchanged. Like, you'll still feel melee advancing in the same time, like 2 villagers or so faster, so I don't think this is actually a change. I think it's just a change in how it's represented. Where we are going to be seeing some changes is, one, note that these guys do have supplies, unlike Goths. However, if we scroll on over to the castle, Forced Levy, militia gold cost is replaced by an additional food cost. Also, the tech is a little bit cheaper. I actually didn't notice that one before. So yeah, I don't remember the exact cost. I think it was like 1,200 food. No, it wasn't. No, it was 1,000 food. 500 gold, I think. Whatever. Yeah, I actually just noticed that right now, as I'm recording, obviously. But yeah, you see, militia gold cost is replaced by an additional food cost. This isn't very clear, but it is 20 gold added to the food cost. So now your swordsman line cost 80 food, as opposed to 60 food and 20 gold. However, with supplies, you're bumping that cost down to 65 food and 0 gold at that point once you have forced levy researched. This is actually a little bit of a nerf because, supplies doesn't make up for the additional gold cost, or the gold cost that is now food cost, if that makes sense. You guys get it. So this is actually a little bit of a nerf to Millay, which I'm fine with nerfing them in this direction because Millay inevitability was really, really scary and just kind of broken against a ton of civs. So yeah, I'm not I'm not super upset about this change. Millay also have another change where their harbors are a lot weaker now. I don't know where I can show this easily, but thalassocracy, their Castle Age unique tech, which allows your docks to be upgraded to harbors. Now their base attack is reduced to 3, guys, making harbors way, way, way weaker. They do have 1 more bonus damage against ships, so the damage versus ships is still, it's going to be okay. But yeah, harbors that attacking non-ship units, they're going to be pretty weak. I mean, it's like the freaking villager arrows or something. So yeah, harbors a lot weaker now. Again, this is the sort of change I like. Harbors don't cost any stone, and they act as a defensive building, and I think that is a really, really scary combo in terms of balance. Skipped a couple civs, whoops, was trying to go in alphabetical order, but oh well, too late, too lazy to edit that to be in the right order. We have Genuis crossbowmen for the Italians. It actually doesn't say it right here, but it is the case where their attack delay, or reload speed or fire rate or whatever you want to call it, has been reduced from 3 to 2. So 3 is the base reload time of a skirmisher, 2 is the base reload time of a normal crossbowman, and this is definitely a huge, increase. It's what, 50% faster or something like that, and that is going to be making the Genuis crossbowman a lot easier to get up and running in the Castle Age. It already trains really slowly. It's, it's an expensive archer unit. It's really powerful once upgraded, but it's just hard to get there. This is going to make them a lot more viable in the Castle Age. It's just a nice, solid change for the unit. So Qamar, on top of the elephant changes, they're also losing shipwright for some reason. Why they lost shipwright? I do not know. They were never a water powerhouse civ that was like broken on all maps water. Yeah, that's just, I don't know why. I mean, yeah, obviously it makes the civ worse on water, but it's gonna make that one Qamar campaign scenario where you're just it's like one big naval fight. I think it's actually challenging a thalassocracy. It's the 4th one. You guys might know what I'm talking about. It's gonna make that one a lot more annoying to play. But beyond that, yeah, don't really see this being too big a deal. All right, so Persians. I was talking about this in my tier list. You can see that they have been buffed. Plus 5% work rate in Dark Age for their town centers and docks, as opposed to, or in addition to, all of the other normal stuff. That's going to be a really nice change. Like I said in the tier list video, if you make 20 villagers in the Dark Age, you essentially have, 25 seconds, saved TC time, if that makes sense. And that's going to be quite nice. You actually are going to be researching the Feudal Age just a little bit faster as well. And when you combine that with your extra starting food and wood, I think Persians are going to be a really, really strong pick on hybrid maps, especially like your Continentals or Cross or whatever have you. Also makes them even better on Nomad. So yeah, this is definitely a really, really nice little change for them. Makes Persians one of the top early game civs for sure. And the other change, like I was talking about, Kemendarin is how it is pronounced apparently. So you'll have your archer line gold cost replaced by an additional wood cost. Again, not very clear wording, but what it does is it makes your crossbow line cost 70 wood as opposed to 25 wood and 45 gold. So Persians, just as a refresher, no arbalest and no bracer. So your crossbowmen, you might be thinking, oh, that's a really underwhelming unit. But when you think about it in the context of being a trash unit, I mean, these guys are going to be shredding through halberdiers. Like, just crossbowmen without bracer, like, it's still way, way better than a generic elite skirmisher against halberdiers, or honestly anything that is not specifically skirmishers themselves. So I really do think this is going to make Persians a strong candidate in a trash war scenario, because other than not having bracer, they do have fully upgraded trash themselves. You got fully upgraded halberdiers, and you have fully upgraded hussars. So I think overall this makes Persians a lot more viable in a lot more settings. Oh, Saracens, Saracens, Saracens. So going over the more normal changes, we have the markets now costing minus 100 wood as opposed to minus 75 wood. So now your markets are actually costing, well, 75 wood themselves. And that's some really cheap markets. I mean, on top of just being able to get out a quick market even easier. Markets in the feudal age, other than palisade gates, but those don't really cover a ton of area. But the market is 4 tiles wide and tall or whatever, and means archers can't hit you, the villager building the market, if you position appropriately. That's the point. It's really easy to wall against early archers. Putting the market behind some palisade walls, and the enemy archers and skirmishers can't do anything to stop you. So that's going to be even easier now. Another change that is, again, fairly modest. The Mameluke has some additional armor against halberdiers, and it is +5, and I believe that means that Mamelukes have enough anti-halberdier armor that halberdiers deal as much damage to Mamelukes as they did in Age of Conquerors. Mamelukes no longer have the 0 frame delay, like that's still a thing, unfortunately, for people who like Mamelukes, but halberdiers aren't going to be tearing them to ribbons, at least not quite as easily. They're still going to be good against them, so don't run them into halberdiers, but it's a little bit better defenses for the unit. But of course, the change that is the talk of the town. Archers except skirmishers +3 attack versus buildings. Used to just be cavalry archers. Now it is also applying to the archer line. When you combine that with their team bonus, foot archers +1 attack versus buildings, oh yeah, your archers are knocking down buildings in the feudal age. If you have a group of like 15, 20 archers, I mean, you can honestly take down archery ranges and stables and stuff pretty quickly. If you compare it to obsidian arrows for Mayans, that's +6 attack versus buildings. And Saracens get +4 attack versus buildings, so it's not quite as much. Yeah, it's like getting that for free from the feudal age, that's really, really good. And, you have fully upgraded arbalests, in addition to it, and then other than that, Saracens already have a very broad tech tree. And oh my god, a huge-ass mosquito just landed in front of my computer as I'm recording this! Die, mosquito! Die, mosquito! Die, mosquito! Okay, whew. Killed the mosquito. Oh yeah, we're not editing that out. We do things very professionally here. Anyway, small change here for the missionary. They are now healing as quickly as normal monks. They used to heal, I believe, half as fast as a normal monk, and missionaries are now affected by husbandry, so they can get a little bit faster. So yeah, fervor makes your monks and missionaries move 15% faster, and now husbandry also going to make them move 15% faster. So it's like you get an additional fervor for your missionaries. Is this going to be enough to make them viable? I don't really see it. Monks are still going to be better in most scenarios because they have the extra range and the better conversion speed, I guess. And they can, pick up relics, which is pretty dandy. So still definitely going to think monks are better, but at least missionaries are something more than a meme now. So, small change here for Slobs. They now have the faith technology. They used to not have faith or heresy. Now they at least have the faith tech. And that's going to be pretty nice for them. I think especially on Arena, Slobs struggled from not being able to deal with really good monk civs. They have a lot of very expensive units, your boyars, your siege units, what have you, cavaliers even. And now it's going to, you at least have an option to, get faith, be able to better resist, good monks, good enemy monks converting all your expensive units. Oh, yeah, and Slobs get supplies for free instead of tracking. Mentioned that already, I think. So, yeah, see it here. Supplies free. Oh, yeah, also, forgot. Yeah, Slobs, farmers work 10% faster, down from 15% faster. So that is definitely a nerf. The Slav farming eco isn't completely busted now, but it is still going to be very, very strong eco bonus. Yeah, just because it's not completely broken anymore does not mean it's bad. So you're still going to be just fine playing Slobs. Teutons, you now have Dun 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 dun! Free herbal medicine, or herbal medicine free is how it's worded, but you guys get the idea. Yay! Herbal medicine! I mean, herbal medicine was changed so that your garrison units and buildings heal 6 times faster. I forgot to mention that in the general changes, but don't worry, it's only going to matter when you're playing Teutons, and that's because you get it for free, and maybe Aztecs for the extra monk HP. But other than that, yeah, I'm not entirely sure if this is going to make a big difference. It's still 350 gold. That only affects garrisoned units, so it's not affecting cavalry, remember? I don't know. Well, I guess cavalry can garrison in castles. Not entirely sold on this still. Jumping back to another civ I forgot to talk about, Koreans. You can see the change I was mentioning. Military units except siege weapons cost minus 15% wood, and they no longer have the fortifications built faster. That was a really, really weird, confusing bonus that was really dumb. So glad they removed it, and this one is actually somewhat useful. Like I said in the video, it's not like super incredibly strong, as your archers are only now 21 wood. Skirmishers, I think they're like 29 wood or something, I don't know. So, I mean, it's a little something, for sure. I think this is most applicable, though, on water maps. God, where did they put the dock tech tree now? Changing things around, confusing poor little Ornlu. But yeah, your ships are going to be a lot cheaper now. I mean, if you think about it, the Viking warship discount is minus 15% total cost. So if you combine the powers of the Korean bonus and the Portuguese bonus, you get the Viking bonus, at least. So that's something, right? Right? But honestly, like, turtle ships getting a lot cheaper, that is going to be some sick wood savings. So overall, not like the most impactful bonus ever, but I think it at least makes Koreans a legitimate civ that doesn't need to tower rush every game, which I like. Finally, last, but hopefully not least, we have Vietnamese, who now have received husbandry. So yeah, Vietnamese, they now have husbandry, making their cavalry more viable. You can see that, okay, they miss blast ferns, but they have all the defense upgrades, and you have your elite battle elephants with Chatras getting that 50 extra HP. That's going to be definitely more viable now. Fully upgraded cavaliers and light cav, no hussar obviously. And for the record, they do have faith, so their elephants are not, immune to conversions, but they are more resistant to conversions, potentially. Why did I not put that in the changelog list that I'm reading off of? I'm pretty sure they have faith now. Yeah! Yeah, very, very professional video here. Qamar used to not have faith. Now they have faith, so that's going to be a nice little boost to their elephant monk resistance in the late game. So that's going to be it, guys, for all of these balance changes. I should note that this is still technically the beta, and maybe some stuff will be moved around before launch, but I don't really think so. But still, that should be, I think, a good overview to see how all of the old civilizations are being impacted by DE, as we're getting 4 new civs, and that's really exciting, but we're also getting some big shakeups to the existing civs, which is also potentially exciting. And I think some of the big winners are going to be like Persians or Koreans or Saracens. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that's played out and how we're going to be seeing experts apply that especially. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, I guess, if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.